they're fraud. They don't know they're fraud, and they don't know that you know they're fraud.
People online are now fully convinced that Erika Kirk was allegedly sending cryptic messages through Bible verses in the days leading up to Charlie Kirk's death, and once you actually look at the timeline laid out side by side, you immediately understand why the internet has been spiraling so hard and so consistently over these specific posts. The pattern people are pointing to is specific, it is documented through screenshots, and it has generated a level of sustained online attention that shows absolutely no sign of fading. Ever since Charlie died, there have been non-stop and increasingly organized theories online about Erika's potential involvement in what happened, and the comment sections under these Bible verse posts tell their own story about how deep this particular rabbit hole has already gone. So let's actually walk through the documented timeline carefully, because this is where people genuinely started losing their minds over what they were seeing. Apparently, Erika used to post Bible verses on X with reasonable regularity. It was part of her established and recognizable public presence as a faith-forward conservative figure. But then, according to people who went back and mapped the posting history, she suddenly and completely stopped posting Bible verses after September 19, 2023, going quiet on that specific type of content for what people are calculating as nearly 2 full years.
All right, you guys, straight to jail for questioning at least Erika. Someone once commented beneath this show that if the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies that Charlie told regarding the murder or assassination of his wife, Charlie would be in prison awaiting trial.
And the specific verse she posted on that September 19, 2023 date, the one people are describing as her final biblical post before going inactive, is what sent the entire conversation into overdrive. Look at the wording for a moment, because the internet certainly has. The verse reads, "Also, I will teach you to respect me completely, and I will put a new way of thinking inside you. I will take out the stubborn hearts of stone from your bodies, and I will give you obedient hearts of flesh." And the internet grabbed onto specific language within that verse and has not let it go since. Particularly the phrase obedient hearts, which people online have been calling one of the creepiest and most specifically alarming word choices in the entire documented timeline when placed alongside everything else that has subsequently come to light. The framing of hearts being made obedient, of something stubborn being removed and replaced with something compliant, hit people in a very specific and very unsettling way when viewed through the lens of everything that has happened since that post appeared. Then conspiracy communities on TikTok and X grabbed the screenshot and the analysis exploded from there. Because according to the pattern people documented, Erika suddenly resumed posting Bible verses with renewed frequency right before Charlie's death. After being largely inactive on that specific type of religious content for an extended period, she began posting again. On September 8, 2025, she posted, "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast." Then another verse on September 9th.
It's the longest video I've watched of him. Just give me a second.
Take your time.
And then, on the morning before Charlie was shot at Utah Valley University, she posted, "God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble." To be absolutely direct about the obvious, Bible verses are not inherently suspicious. Millions of people post religious content online every single day as genuine expressions of faith and personal spiritual practice. Scripture sharing is one of the most common forms of expression among Christian public figures across every platform. That basic and important context deserves to be stated clearly and maintained throughout this conversation. But the internet is not operating on the general principle of Bible verse posting in the abstract. It is operating on the specific timing of these specific verses in this specific sequence leading up to this specific event. And once that pattern was identified and shared, combined with the extended period of silence before the renewal and the specific language of the final pre-death post about being a refuge in trouble, the algorithmic and emotional logic of online investigation took over completely. The comments being left under screenshots of these posts tell their own story about where public perception has landed. One person wrote, "From the day Charlie was shot, I knew she was in on it."
Wow. I don't even know where to begin. The fact that we were able to pull off an event of a century, like, it's just insane. We had over 275,000 people that attended, and stadium overflow, Westgate, insane, you guys. And then you have, was it 100 million?
I know from my own experience how people operate. She was an accomplice of sorts. She lies by omission. Another wrote, "She definitely knew. How could she not have known?" Mikey McCoy called her immediately. It was ingrained in his brain, and Andrew Colvett obsessively defends her daily. She knows everything. Those are internet comments, not confirmed facts, and that distinction needs to be maintained clearly. But comments like those illustrate exactly why this specific conspiracy keeps growing larger and more organized with every week that passes. Because a significant and growing segment of people has already made up their mind about Erika, and they are no longer approaching new information as open questions, but as additional confirmation of a conclusion they have already reached. One of the biggest conversations running in parallel with the Bible verse discussion is how Erika has been presenting herself publicly in the extended period since Charlie's death. A massive portion of the audience has stopped viewing her as a grieving widow and has started viewing her as someone running a carefully managed public relations campaign. The evidence people point to for that interpretation is the sustained and relentless nature of her public presence, non-stop interviews, emotional clips engineered for maximum sympathetic impact, constant public appearances, organized media engagement, speeches, legacy projects, and organizational positioning.
I never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast. I personally would rather have coffee or brunch with someone than go. I don't drink. I find it unproductive, not because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here. So if you're expecting to marry someone that I was blessed with, like a Charlie, you have to be the type of woman that will attract a Charlie. Are you going to church? Are you going to Bible study?
Was until I hosted the first Trump rally in Trump rally history right here in Arizona in 2015. I got a call from Miss Erika Kirk, Miss Arizona 2012. I just want to help, she said. So naturally, I put her right behind the president.
All of it calibrated in ways that people on the outside describe as looking less like someone processing private grief and more like someone executing a comprehensive strategy. One specific and widely circulated comment captured that perception with particular sharpness. I didn't realize this until someone pointed it out, but Erika Kirk has posted significantly more sentimental content featuring Charlie after her April 29th appearance than she ever did before that date. It feels more like a PR response to the scrutiny than genuine sentiment about missing her husband. And that observation, which spread fast because it gave people a specific and documentable comparison point, summarizes much of the current mood. Once people believe someone is operating strategically rather than authentically, every single post becomes evidence of the strategy rather than expression of genuine feeling. Every carefully worded caption, every emotionally timed photo, every appearance at a specific moment, all of it gets interpreted through that lens of calculated management rather than real human response. Then Candace Owens entered the conversation and made everything considerably more intense and considerably more structured. Candace has not been gentle in her engagement with this story, and she is arguably one of the primary reasons these theories have achieved the mainstream reach they currently have. She did not limit her questioning to the timeline surrounding Charlie's death in isolation.
Do you believe that Tyler Robinson murdered her husband?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think it is so hard for so many people to believe that reality?
Because it's too simple. Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's not. I've seen the autopsy report. I've seen our case pulled together. I've been in constant contact with our lawyers, the prosecuting team. I've seen it all.
She is evil. When I watched that, I went, she's evil. I am so infuriated watching that back because she's lying. She's objectively lying and she's acting, right? It was because of that clip that when I went in to meet with her, I was going, oh, okay, maybe she has something that the public doesn't. I spoke to them, I'm in touch with the lawyers, I've seen the autopsy report, and then I sit down with her 72 hours later and she tells me, and her lawyer confirms to me, that they have nothing more than what the public has seen.
She allegedly started pushing theories connecting Erika to internal power struggles operating behind the scenes at TPUSA, suggesting that Erika may have had personal and organizational motivations tied to assuming control of the operation that went well beyond conventional widow succession. And once that framing entered the conversation, the rabbit hole deepened dramatically and rapidly. Then there is the leaked audio that people keep returning to, in which Erika was recorded describing her husband's memorial as the event of the century, a description that struck people as extraordinary and jarring given the circumstances. The phrase carries the energy of someone celebrating a significant achievement or milestone, not someone describing the gathering to honor a person they loved and lost violently and unexpectedly. That audio clip has been replayed and analyzed extensively across platforms, and it continues generating strong reactions every time it resurfaces. Then Candace took the conversation further by connecting Erika's Romanian charity work to broader theories involving intelligence networks, political operations, and hidden institutional agendas.
I didn't know they could do that. I hate Zoom. I never like Zoom. Sorry, you guys. I just wanted to say first and foremost, my heart obviously is broken for you guys as much as it is for our family. You guys lost not only a boss, but someone that you looked up to, someone that you believed in his mission.
And one particular article headline that circulated in connection with that angle sent conspiracy communities into their most intense spiral to date, featuring the words Kirk and the Romanian Angels question. How a charity, a U.S. military base, and a hotspot collided, alongside Erika's name in the same sentence. The internet saw Romania, military base, and hotspot sitting together in a single headline connected to Erika and responded as though it had discovered the plot summary of a major political thriller. That headline spread widely and quickly, and for the communities already deep in the investigation, it felt like confirmation of frameworks they had been constructing for months. The visual dimension of Erika's social media presence has also become its own ongoing conversation. People scrolling through her posts are consistently pointing to how polished and calculated everything appears. The emotional captions carrying just the right level of vulnerability, the carefully selected photographs, the interviews timed with specific precision, the speeches hitting expected emotional beats with evident preparation. The internet keeps describing it as feeling choreographed rather than raw, as if grief itself has been produced and packaged for consumption rather than genuinely experienced.
The kids, get security, get the kids, he's been shot. I sprinted out of her treatment center. I just collapsed in the middle of the parking lot. Called our security. Yeah. Unbelievable nightmare.
Okay, so a little bit more there. She got the call with Mikey. She collapses in a parking lot. She had blonde hair. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Like, there should have been a lot of eyewitnesses to this scene of a woman collapsing. It also would require, of course, if you collapse in a parking lot, that the nurses are going to come out, escort you back in. How are you going to get from that parking lot? Are they going to call the police?
Whether that assessment is fair or accurate is a genuinely complex question that deserves honest engagement rather than easy dismissal, but the perception is real and it is deeply widespread. Then there is what might be the single most extreme comment in this entire online ecosystem, one that has been spreading rapidly despite being by any objective measure deeply speculative. Erika Kirk is an intelligence asset using Bible verse posts to send operational signals to her handlers about assignments being carried out discreetly. These verses would have been a signal to her commanders that the assignment executed. Personally, that theory represents the outer boundary of what can be responsibly engaged with given the complete absence of any documented evidence to support it. But the fact that it exists and circulates and finds an audience tells you something specific about where public trust in the official narrative currently stands. When millions of people have concluded the official account cannot be accepted at face value, the explanatory frameworks that fill that vacuum will be as dramatic as the perceived scale of the deception. The deeper this rabbit hole gets, the harder it becomes for anyone, including people genuinely trying to operate in good faith, to separate documented inconsistency from emotional projection and confirmation bias running ahead of available evidence. Screenshots, interview clips, comment aggregation, timing analysis, and pattern recognition can all be valuable investigative tools, and they can all be manipulated by motivated reasoning into producing conclusions that the raw evidence doesn't actually support. That tension is at the heart of why this story is so difficult to navigate honestly. But here is what cannot be denied regardless of where any individual lands on the question of Erika's knowledge or involvement. The specific timeline of those Bible verse posts, the period of silence, the resumption of posting in the days before Charlie's death, and the specific content of the final post about God being a refuge in trouble. That documented sequence is what keeps sending the online community back into full investigative overdrive every time it resurfaces. It is the specific detail that fuels everything else. And until it receives a clear and direct explanation from someone with actual knowledge of why that specific posting pattern existed, the conversation will keep expanding with every new development in this story. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and stay completely locked in.